Hey guys, so you have seen the unboxings of this scope, and after working with it for a couple of days, I will give you a full review. So starting with the buttons and pretty much the outside interface, they're very high quality. These are silicone, and as you will see later, they have LEDs in the back. These knobs are very good. They feel very good, and if you press it in, it does something. Like, each of these knobs have buttons on them, so you can either push for 0, as you can see down there, or you can push for variable or push for zoom. Very useful and very intuitive controls as well. Since this is not a touchscreen, there's a bunch of function buttons which will serve many purposes, and the menu. This is the intensity or adjust function, which can adjust the intensity of the screen, and also its main purpose is being like a multifunctional cursor. Can use to select, adjust, measure, all that stuff. This has a function for a stick drive. You can put a stick drive in, and you can export your waveform as a picture, a CSV, or other file types. But a picture or CSV is all you need. You can capture as a CSV. You can put it to an arbitrary function generator, and you can recreate that function. As you can see, this button right here controls the cursor. Acquire, save, measure, display utility. Default setup resets the whole oscilloscope. Help is basically like, if you don't know what a function does, you can press that. Single run, which is single trigger. It takes a waveform, it measures it, and then stops. This is run stop. Auto basically puts everything in auto with very beginner. Trigger levels, trigger menu, set to 50, force, and the trigger level. So looking at the main body of the oscilloscope, very thin, very durable, and it rests on feet. It has a pass and fail output for calibration. I know here, did I mention it comes with a calibration certificate? So it's all fully calibrated, you don't have to do it. It has an RS-232 output and a USB device interface, and also a locking mechanism to lock this to a table if you're putting this for display or in a commercial environment. Jeez. Sorry, my tools are everywhere. And also an added function is a tamper-proof seal here, so nobody's been messing with your oscilloscope before it came here. There's 2 legs. And also, this oscilloscope comes with 2 probes. Of one I'll show here, very high quality. I actually expect a lower quality since this was a bargain price of around $280. That's all for the non-turn on part. Now I'll turn it on. As you can see, there's LEDs for each one of them. Very, very interesting. Okay, this is a 2-channel oscilloscope with an external trigger, and it also, as I plug it in, it also has a built-in calibration module. So if I can hook this up and put this in, you will see that a waveform is generated. Now I will show you some of its basic functions. So there's 2 channels, channel 1 and channel 2. These individually adjust each one. This is voltage per division. Voltage per division gets lower as you turn it clockwise, you can see here, and gets lower when you turn it counterclockwise. This button is merely to position it, and as I said, you can push it in to 0 it. This is second time per division, which is the x-axis. Make it shorter, longer, and you can. This one moves it side to side. Very useful in single trigger when you have to analyze the snip part of the waveform. As I said before, you press it, it will center it. This is a trigger level. So if this thing keeps the waveform stable. If I move it out of the waveform, you can see the waveform becomes unstable and moving. I can move it back in. I can set it to 50% very quickly. Triggers the waveform. I can stop it, and so I can instantly freeze on this waveform. This stops the running. Some basic menus. If you press the channel 1 button, the coupling comes on. There's coupling, and as I mentioned before, this becomes a universal cursor. So right now I'm choosing AC coupling. You can push it in, click, put menu on and off, and I have to turn the channel back on again. And there is also a trigger menu. There's the type of trigger, where the trigger comes from, the source, all that stuff. There's also the cursors. You can see you can do manual trigger, which is cursor. It's very useful. You can see where the peak voltages are. You can see, you see that little line moving. You can also do track, which is useful for finding out all that data displayed back there. Basically, this X and Y dot follows this waveform as you turn. You can see it jumps up. And of course, you can have auto or off. And there are pretty much the very basic functions of it. There's a lot of advanced functions, math. It can do FFL, I think. But in all its simplicity, it's awesome. It's very good for its quality. 50 megahertz, all I probably would need. There's really nothing I could ask more of a $280 instrument. This thing is better than some $1,000 versions. So, if I were to rate it, I'd give it 5 out of 5. So that's for the review. See you next time.